ऐसा नहीं है कि बस अब ले ऑफ कर दिया, now I don't have any connection with that employee. If you know that employee, you have worked with that employee for good hours, help them in any ways you can and in your capacity. I remember when I laid off a group of individuals for the first time as an HR. It took me an hour. It took me hours to realize that this is part of my job. This is not something personally that I'm doing to them. It took me many guidance to understand कि हाँ, as an HR, I have to take that call, and it really broke my heart that day. First of all, speak on data. If you have team of 10 individuals, if you know who are not performing, you have to accordingly take those conversations with them. If you have the data that the company is running on profit, you need a certain layoff, speak on data to them. For example, if a VP had to take a tough decision of laying between two people, and I know that my both of these two employees, I have the performance metrics of them with me. If someone is performing this, the other is performing this. First, I'll speak on data. And
Well, do you think that emotional thinking for any leader is the good practice for them, or they have to always think based on the data part? So, have you ever sit in an office meeting and just wonder that why one person is leading the room while other is just quiet and listening to them? Why some managers are successfully be able to build a great team while others are struggling to bring people together? These are some day-to-day questions that comes in every founder, manager or employee minds. That's why today's session is really important for you as well. Because in today's sessions, we go deep dive into layoffs, leadership, confidence, team building, these things. And to guide us, I'm sitting down with Sakshi Sunil. She is a VP building confidence collections where she train people towards confidence. So let's dive in it. Data part. So, hi Sakshi, welcome to Builder Talk. How are you doing today?
all good, Ashish. Thank you for having me here. I am doing absolutely well and good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm also doing really well. Thank you so much for coming to this our podcast.
The pleasure is all mine.
Exactly. So, as our audience already know that our today's session will be totally packed up with so many confidence and leadership kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, before we dive into that part, I would love to know about your story. So, could you please tell us that how your story actually shape your journey into the leadership part?
Definitely. So, Ashish, for you and for my beautiful audience, I belong to a very small city known as Devghar, Jharkhand. It's famous for one of its Jyotirlinga.
Yeah.
It's famous for spiritual strength. I hail from that small part. Growing up, life was very simple there. I could have easily lived that simple life, but life had something more to offer, and I had something more to take from life. I did my studies. I did my higher studies from Ranchi, and for my MBA, I went to Bengaluru. I have experience in HR. All my internships, all my projects, all my certifications has been into HR. But I had something more to take from life. As said, I started my own journey of confidence collection, my own venture, my own brainchild, my own heart and soul. Why confidence collection? I'll help you explain what is confidence collection.
Sure.
Confidence collection is a platform, not like an ordinary coaching platform. It's a platform wherein we don't judge, we evaluate according to your own strength and weakness, be it on any criteria. Whether you're preparing for interview, I am here to guide you. Whether you're preparing for placements, I am here to navigate you the path of placements. If you want an executive presence in office, in corporate, I'm here to guide you on that. The reason of creating confidence collection is since I belong to a very small city, opportunities were very limited. And I it was believed that you cannot do much in the small area of opportunities, which I did not like. So I created this platform wherein you are made to believe that you can do anything and everything considering you have potential, capabilities, and capacities. So we train individuals on various aspects of all aspects of confidence, personality development, training. That's how I started confidence collection. And people have this misconception that you are confident, that's why you have started confidence collection. It's not that. I have faced judgments. I have faced wherein I was standing in a stage. I was in class 10, I was reciting a pledge and I could not recite it. I was having that kind of stage fear. I still do have, but whenever I hold mic, whenever I go to stage, that's my happy place. I want each and every individual to feel that if they believe they have all the competencies. That's my journey of confidence collection, and I want to empower more individuals on my way.
That's interesting. And yeah, one thing that I totally relate with you is that you told that coming to a tier 2, tier 3 city in India, and whenever you go to any good college, any good corporate, the one thing that all people are missing is the confidence. They don't have that level of self confidence that all the tier 2, 1, like these kind of people have. And due to that, they are lacking into the so much opportunities. Sometimes you miss the presentation part, meetings, and all. So
Mm.
yeah, that's really a big pain point that I also observe, that the confidence part, so many working professionals and so many students as well lacking a lot. And you are just trying to fixing that issue because you are someone who actually are into that shoes before them. So you
Yes.
understand this part really, really well. That's really interesting. Yeah,
Because the place from where we come from, opportunities were not served in a plate. We have to go and find for those opportunities. And the struggle for finding those opportunities was a real tough game. I don't want individuals to face that or lose any opportunities in absence of confidence, in absence of soft skills. I want to train individuals on those aspects.
exactly, exactly. That's really amazing, Sakshi. uh, yeah, you come with leadership role. You are someone who spent so much time with different leaders, and you mentioned that your startup is also into that part. I would love to
Yes.
know about what's your definition of leadership. How you define leadership?
Leadership is defined in different languages by many individuals. Some say that a leader is one who guides and navigates a team. Some say a leader is one who understands the complexities and navigate the team accordingly. For me, a leader is an individual like you and me who understand where is the gap and what needs to be provided to that team. A leader is the shield of that particular team. If X level of pressure comes from this level, the leader filter it down to this level and handles it to the team. Leadership quality, you can be a manager but you cannot be a leader. You can be a leader but you cannot be a good manager. So there's a difference between the both of the aspect. According to me, a leader is one who knows what to filter down to the team, is very proactive, knows how to handle high stake decisions, and the team is happy working under him or with him. That's my definition of leadership.
One thing that I've noticed is that you told that there is a difference between manager and the leaders. But
Yes.
if you look at the small level for a team, they have manager who run the team, and there is some senior level people who run the managers. Okay,
Hmm.
so how the managers and the leaders are different?
Hmm. You can be a manager, but you cannot be a leader. And you can be a leader, but you cannot be a manager. If by my skills, my experience, if I earn a title of manager, but if I don't know how to lead the team, a very important aspect of my designation is missing. That is leadership. Simply, if I am an associate, if I'm just starting with my role, if I'm just starting with my career, I am a leadership. I have certain leadership traits, but I don't have that designation of a manager. So they both are interrelated also and not connected also. That's how they both are twisted.
Let's understand with the help of a real example. Okay, I would need your help to explaining this part. Just imagine I am a VP of a particular company. It's a kind of a software company. Okay, I have
Yeah.
to just ship a product within a 1 month. I
Hmm.
just called my manager to that. Yeah, I just need these features, and then manager will uh, running the team who will just told the team that they work on that part. Okay, so if you analyze this scenario of VP to manager, as a
Hmm.
VP, if I want to ship this into the 1 month, so how, like I just instruct my manager to just finish it within the 1 month, and manager instruct to them. So
Hmm.
how my language of saying this is different from the manager language when they saying to the team. So I would
Hmm.
love to know the difference between that part.
So if you need certain modification in any of the product,
Yeah,
you will filter it down to your manager.
exactly.
That particular head will filter it down to their team, and
Hmm.
accordingly, for you, your point of contact or your spock will be that particular manager,
Hmm.
and that manager point of contact will be his own team. The more efficiently you communicate the problem statement to the manager, the more nicely he will filter it down to the next level downwards. What he can do is to make tasks easier, since he's in a state wherein he needs to answer to you also and to his team also. He needs to answer to the upper management also and to his team also. What he can do is filter down the task very efficiently and create it into small checkpoints. Clarity, consistency, coaching, the three important concepts he need to break down the task into. And then accordingly have timely checks, give a routine feedback, and give a routine feedback to you also that, sir, I'm stuck here. My team progress is there. Maybe we need this resources to work more on this particular projects, and accordingly my time frame will be this. So how you filter down to the lower level, the lower level will filter it down to the next level.
Okay, what do you think as a leader? Do we also get well connected with the lower level team? For example, if a VP of a company, they should have to understand their lower level team, or they do have to leave this up to the manager part only. What's the good practice for manager in that context?
I think the VP of any company needs to have knowledge of every individuals working under him, minus one, minus two, minus three, to whatsoever level it is. It's not that I give a task to my manager and I'm assuming it will be done and completed. I need to check, are there any bottlenecks or are there any hurdles that his team is facing. Accordingly, my task will be delayed or completed accordingly. For example, if I am filtering down some tasks to my manager and he's not able to communicate this well to the team, not able to match, align, map, the task will be delayed. I need to understand the root cause why it is happening. So it's not that if I'm the VP of a company, I'll not look down the bottom teams. I'll definitely look.
Interesting. So we are talking a lot about VP, manager, these kind of leadership things. One thing that coming in my mind is that what actually separate a great leader apart from the normal audience? What kind of habits that they have? What kind of decision that they took so that they get to the very different level as compared to normal people?
Okay. The difference between, I consider that a very great leader and a good leader is the daily habits. Leadership is not built on day one. Leadership is built day to day wise. You create a task, you analyze that. So it's a daily habit that you build on. What is important is that difference between a great leader and an average leader is clarity. A great leader has clarity. The boss, I have this task, I need to complete this. These are my resources, these are my problems. They have clarity, what needs to be done. Second is consistency. I may be a good leader today, but I was not a good leader yesterday, and I may not be a good leader tomorrow. That is not consistency. I need to be very consistent in my efforts, in my values, in my work. Third is courage. A leader is someone who knows when to say yes and when to say no for his team, for his own benefit, for his own KRS and KPIs. Fourth, maybe I say reflection. What went good? Very good. What went wrong? Analyze it. Why did it went wrong? Understand the process. Rather than knowing कि ये क्यों नहीं हुआ, let's understand कि किस कारण नहीं. What was the reason for not getting the work completed. And maybe delegation with trust. If I have a team and I'm micromanaging it, my team has lost their trust then and there only. If I'm handling the responsibility to some of my team member, it's with the whole dedication, ownership, and with full authority that I'm transferring my role to him. So these are some of the traits that may differentiate a great leader and a good leader. And I heard it somewhere that good leaders chase progress. Great leaders know a system that guarantees those progress.
So when I analyze, to the long story short, is that about your thought process on the good leader is that a great leader is someone who build the system. So instead of trying to getting progress done, try to build a system. They will automatically give you that level of progress, anything that you want to achieve, right?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's really great thing. Uh, we saw in a corporate so many people who are into the role of a developer, product manager, these kind of thing, and they all are aspiring to becoming into the leadership role, right?
Mm,
But very few of them are actually getting into that part, right? So
mm,
if
mm.
they are listening to us, what do you think? What kind of thing that you have to focus from day one if they really wanted to get into that leadership role? What quality that they need?
I'll relate it to my part. So I started my journey back in 2023. It's not 2 years also. I'm working as a HRBP in a company named Masters Union. I have heard comments like you're too young for this role. I have heard comments like this role requires this many years of experience. I having full potential and trust in my abilities. I know that expertise doesn't comes with experience. You may have good years of experience, but if you don't have expertise, I'm sorry, it is not counted. So if you're very confident in yourself and you know, boss, ki I am this smart, I know what things needs to be done, I know how to take something on my plate, do it, complete it, own it. Even if I'm not doing it right, I'm admitting my mistakes. You have to take charge of your career, and to step into leadership you have two options: to walk the ordinary path of associate, senior associate, manager, senior manager, VP, AVP, VP. You can climb those ladders slowly in your own pace, taking years of experience, taking years of time, or you can climb those ladders fastly by your skill set, by your upskilling. So, all the leaders, all the aspiring leaders who are watching this, my suggestion to them is first believe in yourself. The half of your victory is done when you start believing in yourself कि हाँ मैं कर सकता हूँ, मेरे में talent है, I'll do it. Second, with confidence comes upskilling. I know my area, I know what needs to be done, I know the market trends. I'll do my research, I'll prepare day and night for those things, and I'll try my level best to be that level. Third is you'll face a lot of criticism while you're doing for that, that you know this doesn't go with your experience, you need more experience. Don't pay attention to that. If you are confident enough, just walk on your path. And fourth, a lot of understanding that yes, at times this requires a setback, this requires a break, I need to focus on other trends according to the market, according to the market stability and everything. Focus on that, focus on your upskilling part, focus on your the job that you're doing it. For example, if I'm in HR, I know certain aspect that I'm good at it, I'll focus more on it and I'll grab roles accordingly.
That's amazing. And one thing that I've noticed is that the what I can say, yeah, so many people who are into the early stage and who are into the mid-level role, they all are facing criticism. For example, you are in HR and you just want to switch into the developer part. You just try to learn coding. So many people are discourage you. This that no, you are not from the BTech background. It not works and all. And due to that, that motivation is got lacked, right?
Mm.
And yeah, it's say easier to please ignore those people, but they are your colleague all the time. They all are saying you the same thing: please don't do that, it's actually harm your career, these kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
how to prepare for that part? Because if absolutely whenever you're something different, people will definitely criticize you. It's a
Yeah.
universal rule. So how you actually prepare for that part, and what's the some practical way to ignoring those kind of situations?
Okay. So I've read it somewhere. In a crowd of 10 people, in a close circle of 10 people, you have maybe one will be appreciating your success, clapping for your success. Nine will be that how he got so successful. And that counts in the close circle of people. As an HR, while I was recruiting, I have seen so many talented people who were not coming from that educational background, but pivoting to some different career progression, and they are very good at it. I have seen HRs who are not from HR background. I've seen HR who are from medical background also, working very diligently in HR. So career pivot is in your hands, is your career. What is important is the career that you're opting in right now. You have full knowledge of that career. I have seen individuals who are doing BTech and switching to some other roles, and they're very good at it. I have hired those kind of individuals. I'm not that HR that for me, the back, of course, for some roles it must be, but if you know your job very well, if you're very confident in your job, I don't believe that theoretical knowledge of your high school matters that much. Your degree matters that much in your present job. I may have degree of some other I have degree of some other studies, but right now I'm in HR. I'll have my heart and soul in HR. And as mentioned, there will be people who will be telling आपके पास experience नहीं है, you cannot do this. Don't listen to them. First is don't listen to them, and second is have confidence in yourself कि boss मेरे से तो हो ही जाएगा. The practical steps is learn about the job that you aspire to be. If you want to be in coding, learn, code, practice, analyze, upskill. It's just not a mere confidence doesn't work if you don't have knowledge. अगर कोई 4 क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछ देगा कोडिंग में, you should have all the knowledge to answer those. Second is analyze what market trends are going in that particular field. For example, I'm in HR, I'll analyze what is the trends in HR that is going these days. Maybe HR in AI, HR in some digital space. I'll analyze the trend and upskill accordingly rather than staying 5 years back. Third is, be very determinant of what you're choosing. Choose accordingly to the interest area that you're opting for. For example, I have seen freshers fresh out of college from very good colleges opting for roles that are not aligning with their career expectation and merely going for the compensation sake. No, it's your career. Compensation will give you happiness of maybe 1 month, 2 months, but mental happiness, work life balance, mental sanity is very important. So choose accordingly and very wisely. Be very determined to your career that this is my career, these are my plans, and I'll opt in for those.
So yeah, if I summarize this, the two things that I've noticed, which is first of all is have a confidence, and the second one is clarity. If you have
Yeah.
these two things, and clarity comes whenever you read about job descriptions, about your market, skill set, everything. Only then you will get the clarity. And if you have clarity, definitely, like you will not affected by someone else criticism and all. You will just focus on your own goal. For that,
Mm-hmm.
clarity is really, really matter. Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, another thing is that people all have lacking confidence. Like people have the potential to doing these thing, that thing, but they all are lacking is to having a confidence. And your venture is running into that. But I will just tell you my story as well. I was
Yeah,
just
I will.
yeah, I was just working with a client, and they need a particular feature with AI. But I was someone who are a developer who don't too much work with AI part. But like he was my old client, and he just told me that you will be do that. And literally within a 2 days, I will ship that feature. I don't have confidence of myself, but he had confidence on me, and due to that, I am able to do that, right? And I totally understand that so many people have that thing as well. They have the potential, but they don't know that I can do it. So, in your venture, what kind of problem that you have noticed into the people? They have lack of confidence. What kind of mistake that they do due to that they have a lack of confidence? Please tell more about that part.
Yes. So there's a misconception about confidence. The more loud you are, the more better you can speak, the more confident you are. Absolutely not. Confidence, people sometimes assume it's part of personality trait. Of course it is, but it is of course trainable also. I have onboarded many individuals who think that मैम मेरे से तो होगा ही नहीं. They come up with the statement मेरे से तो होगा ही नहीं. I cannot speak. But later, after 2 months, when we train them and when they go to that particular stage, or when they own the, or when they go to the corporate space, they own the room they walk in, and they haven't realized this. I have met individuals who believe that this is not my expertise. They simply give up that I cannot do this. बट इन माई वेंचर आई ट्रेन देम एंड इट्स नॉट दैट डे वन पे मैं बोलती हूँ कि हाँ अब जाओ हाथ में माइक पकड़ो एंड बोलने लगो. There's a series of very practical steps that we follow. We practice many techniques. For example, mirror technique. We practice techniques like, you can speak on mic, you can speak on stage. Just give that time. Go with practice. We follow a small peer session. First, we'll make you speak in a small group session, and then we'll make you speak in a larger audience. Fourth is, people are nervous when it's about speaking. People are nervous, but that doesn't impact your confidence. You are nervous because you care, but you should be nervous up to a limit. It doesn't impact the room that you're walking in. I have seen individuals, I have seen CXOs level who have made the presentation, who know the numbers, who know the data, but at the time of execution or presentation they fumble. They are not able to speak. They don't know what to speak. So I've seen individuals like such, and it's all mind game, I believe. For example, if I'm sitting here, I was nervous an hour back कि क्या बोलोगे कैसे बोलोगे, because this is not something we are prepared for. But I know for the fact कि कितना ही खराब हो जाएगा. I also tell this to my learners कि कितना ही खराब हो जाएगा, क्या हो जाएगा, कुछ नहीं होगा. Max to max, the things won't work out. It's okay, you'll give a second try. What is in our hands is trying. So that is a methodology that we follow in confidence collection.
Yeah, we understand that like how the confidence part is really, really important and how you actually help them to overcome this part. Okay, if an individual who are listening to us, okay, and they have these kind of confidence problem, so what are the some three step they have to follow to boost their confidence. Like, yeah, everyone say that to believe in yourself and you can do this, right? By just believing on you. But that believing on you factor is actually take too much time for them. Actually, they thought I could believe of myself, but after they say their past result, their past execution, they actually have a problem to believing on themselves. So is that any affirmation? Is that any other books they have to read? Or is it any other practice that they have to follow to overcome these kind of their self-doubt part? So yeah, what's your take on that part?
I'll tell you, as mentioned, I was in my 10th class, and I did not wanted to opt in for that pledge part, but क्योंकि मेरा roll number था and school में system था that roll number this will speak pledge on this day particular day. Forcibly मुझे जाना पड़ा था to recite that pledge on stage. I could not, while seeing students of my particular age group only around 100, 150, I froze. I could not say one line also. That was a setback that I had, and that was one of the first kind of setback that I had, that I'm not confident. I cannot do anything in life. मैंने यही सोचा था मैं कर ही नहीं सकती हूँ. जब लर्नर्स आज मेरे पास आते हैं ये स्टेटमेंट लेके मैं कर ही नहीं सकती हूँ. 8 years back I was the same girl who used to believe कि मैं भी नहीं कर सकती हूँ. But अगर मैं उसी मोशन में रहती, I may not be sitting here and speaking to you. It did not came day one. It did not came in an year. It came with it came after 4 years of hard work, sheer belief on yourself, and practicing techniques. Till date, if I'm going to give any presentation in my office, till date, if I'm pitching any of my client, I'll practice that with myself a day prior, speaking to myself in a proper setup like I am speaking to a client. I practice techniques like mirror technique. I practice affirmation कि तू कर लेगी. It will be done by you and you can only do this. You have owned the room many times and you'll own the room again. And it happens. Even if I'm not able to do it 100%, I am satisfied that at least I tried and I'm able to complete at least 90% of the particular task that was given to me. That is a sheer belief that I have in myself and affirmations that I use. Of course, I'm not telling that I'm perfect. There are moments of flaws in me also. There are moments of learnings and areas of improvement in me also. I fail, I cry, I crib, but I make sure that I stand again and I fight again. That's the confidence that you need to have. It's not about speaking, it's not about public speaking, it's not about in interview preparation, it's about the basic mantra that we follow in our life. Ki kuch bhi ho, will fall but will rise again. So that's affirmation that you need to give to yourself. The second technique that I follow personally is the 10-second rule. 4-second exhale, 2-second hold, 4-second 2-second hold, and 4-second exhale. Before I realize that yeah कि अब कुछ anxiety या panic वाला situation आने वाला है, I give that area of
Sorry
time
for
to myself.
sorry for interrupting you, but the thing that you told, that 10-second rule, could you please explain
Yes.
with the help of any example? For example, I am a people, I just have to give my presentation to my team. So how do I apply this 10-second rule to, like, yeah?
Hmm. So, okay, just before starting your presentation, you must be feeling nervous. कि क्या होगा? You check your
Yeah.
presentations, you check all the slides, you check the pitch that you have made, you check the numbers. Before entering the room with full corporate, before entering your corporate space, take out 1 minute for yourself in a closed room, affirm yourself, manifest something good, and take that 10-second rule. For 4 seconds, you just need to inhale. 2 seconds you need to hold that, and after 4 seconds you need to exhale. You'll see a different kind of confidence. It gives your mind and heart a relaxation that yes, sab theek hai. Until unless you control your mind, it is in your hand.
That's
and
amazing. Like,
then and then you walk into the room and then you will see the change. If you are nervous, automatically your presentation will be woggle up. But if you're
exactly.
confident, your presentation will speak volume.
Exactly. One more thing, Sakshi, I have noticed is that there is a difference between confidence as well as overconfidence, right? They have We have to be balanced between them, otherwise things will gonna worst. So I will just tell you, as an entrepreneur, if you started your journey to the very first time, you have so many ideas in your brain, and every idea you think like this is a big $1 billion idea, and you will just start working on it, right, with so much overconfidence. And but again, at the same time, if you think that no, it's a very shitty idea, no one gonna to purchase it. Again, they will. It's also the bad thing, right? So what we
Mm-hmm.
understand is overconfidence is also very bad, and underconfidence is also very bad. So
Mm.
how do people actually understand that if I reach to that level, that is the overconfidence, and if I reach to that level, that is the underconfidence. So what are some sort of range between overconfidence as well as underconfidence?
Okay. So there is underconfidence, there is layering of confidence, and there is overconfidence.
Hmm.
They are three parallelly in line with very less space between them. Underconfidence is कि मुझसे नहीं होगा. Confidence is मैं कर लूँगी. Overconfidence is कि मेरे सिवाय कोई कर ही नहीं सकता है.
Right.
Oh, you need to differentiate those lines. It's okay if you have faith in yourself, but it's very important that you analyze कि आप भी इंसान हो, आप भी fail करोगे, and it's completely okay. You should not have that ego part in yourself that I'll do this and I'll go way beyond any corrective measures to get that completed. Overconfidence is that. Underconfidence is that I cannot do this. My business or my side hustle deals with converting underconfidence into confidence, lowering down overconfidence into confidence. I have heard many people who have not enrolled for confidence collectionist because they believe that they are very confident, but it's not confident. It's not about confidence. It's about overconfidence. And they believe कि मुझे सब आता है, मुझसे सब हो जाता है, but the number doesn't speak that volume according to their profile. So you need to be confident, but you need to be overconfident. Overconfidence destroys everything, which I have learned.
Exactly. So what I understand is that confidence comes from the data. I will explain you. If I'm an entrepreneur, I just have to starting a business, for example, in fintech. First of
Hmm.
all, I have to read the data before making any sort of मतलब कि मैं नहीं कर सकता या मैं कर ही लूँगा. To read the
Hmm.
data part is that this is my area of expertise. This is the fintech market looks like, and these are the kind of startups they have failed. I have these
Hmm.
data. Based on that data, for example, I just build a prototype, I just got some sort of user feedback.
Hmm.
Based on that, if I the response is positive, that's something
Hmm.
okay, we have to try because market is really really well. But if the
Hmm.
response is really negative, and then still I am saying this, okay, no, we can crack this, the audience know nothing about it, we have to build this, you are just ignoring the data and just having a fake confidence of yourself. That's come into the overconfidence category, right?
Hmm. Right, right. In overconfidence, you believe कि, as said and mentioned by you, that you have an idea that strikes कि हाँ ये तो $1 million idea that will work.
Yeah.
No, first of all, believe कि of course it will have the chances of failure also. मेरे सिवाय किसी और को भी idea आया होगा and things won't
Exactly.
have worked. You need to have that minus or black point in your particular scenario कि हो सकता है ये fail कर जाए, and when it actually fails, rather than being demotivated or rather than being arrogant, accept the fact, move on to the next idea. That's confidence rather than switching on that particular idea. If I know my business is failing, I'll switch to some other business which will actually make a long run in the market rather than sticking to my business and making and being overconfident in that particular business and gaining nothing.
Exactly. Okay, now let's shift our conversation towards again the leadership part, right? So yeah, like we also saw that the role of confidence in the leadership is also very very important, right? Sometimes as a leader you have to take so many tough decisions, and that decisions is impact, for example, a $1 billion business as well, or I think
Mm,
thousands of people lives as well. For example, you just have to fire some sort of people. That's also a
mm,
very challenging decisions for any leadership role. So
mm,
in that space, how do leaders took their decisions? What their framework to taking that kind of tough decisions there? Because
mm.
I know that that's really it's not easy for them as well to taking that level of decisions. So what's the
Mm.
framework for that?
Okay. Everyone consider that being a leader is a very has certain more positive sides rather than negative sides. It's not
Exactly.
true. If you are a leader, everyone consider, Arey, he's a VP, must be earning good compensation. So many facilities are provided to him by his company. He's in certain hierarchy wherein he's handling a team of, say, for example, 50 plus people. But what goes inside the mind of VP, that particular employee only knows. At times, he has to take certain decisions, as mentioned by you, laying off people. Being in HR space and handling this kind of conversation, I know how difficult it is. When employees whom you have worked with, whom you have planned something, you have to tell them that we have to part ways because of this reasons, maybe performance, maybe profit, maybe some external reasons. It is very difficult because for them or for anyone, it is their bread and butter. It is the career progression that they have planned. अगर आज को मुझे अपने जॉब से निकाल दिया जाए, it will take a moment to realize and analyze that setback. So it is actually very difficult. But yeah, being in that position, you have to take those calls at times and you have to take it very wisely. First of all, speak on data. If you have team of 10 individuals, if you know who are not performing, you have to accordingly take those conversation with them. If you have the data that the company is running on profit, you need a certain layoff, speak on data to them rather than it's a company's call and not your call. I remember when I laid off a group of individual for the first time as an HR, it took me an hour, it took me hours to realize that this is part of my job. This is not something personally that I'm doing to them. It took me many guidance to understand ki haan, as an HR I have to take that call, and it really broke my heart that day when I laid off certain bunch of people due to company, due to XYZ reason of performance. I could not withstand that. How can I lay off certain employees who are crying in front of me that they have certain obligations to fulfill, they have a ailing parents to take care of. But as part of my job, I had to, as part of the company's best interest, we have to, as a leader, take decisions at times. And of course, you have to speak on facts. I spoke on facts, and they really understood.
What I understand is that a leader, like in case of these kind of tough decision, you have to go with data. If data speak well, because data is something is very very important, so you have to always stick with data. I'm curious
Hmm.
to know about one more thing. Do leaders think emotionally as well? Do you think that emotional thinking for any leader is the good practice for them, or they have to always think based on the data part?
No, I think emotional aspect is also a very important part of leadership trait. We are studying about emotional intelligence. अब तो ये एक बहुत ही important personality trait बनते जा रहा है.
Exactly.
You have to be very emotionally sensitive. We are humans. We have heart. We are not machines. We need that emotional aspect in our lives too.
So emotional thinking is important. Could you please
Yes.
explain me in a real life scenario that how a VP think emotionally, not based on the data?
Yes. For example, if a VP had to take a tough decision of laying between two people, and I know that my both of these two employees, I have the performance metrics of them with me. If someone is performing this, the other is performing this. First, I'll speak on data, and second, if I'm laying off that particular person, I'll maintain as a VP, I'll maintain a good professional touch with them after they are laid off with the company too. I remember when I laid off, when I laid one lady in my last organization, she was crying in front of me that my parents are not keeping well, they need to be taken care of. But as part of the job responsibility, I had to lay off. After that laid off, I made sure that I have her CV with me. I circulated in my network. I circulated my professional sphere. I maintain a regular connection with that particular lady. That have you find job? Try this portal. Try this website. Make your CV this correction. So your job responsibility doesn't end after you leave your job. Your job responsibility or your emotional intelligence get carried forward after your job also. So have that personal touch. Have that emotional connection with that employees. कि ऐसा नहीं है कि बस अब ले ऑफ कर दिया now I don't have any connection with that employee. If you know that employee, you have worked with that employee for good hours, help them in any ways you can and in your capacity. Have that emotional touch.
And what's your message to the employee they are getting laid off? Because we recently saw that so many tech companies are laying off their people. And yeah, we know that situation is not really well for them, their family as well. But for that time, they can't blame the company as well because that's the trend that they all are follow. Maybe their performance are not good, maybe some other issue, maybe some cost cutting as well. So
Hmm.
at that time, their mental model is really, really not well. So what's your message to them? How do they prepare their mind to okay, you will be able to do the next thing as well? So yeah, what's your take on that?
By this, I remember the first company that I was working with. the company shut down its operation on one random day. So the whole company was laid off, including me. So
Oh,
laid off is something which no one imagines in the worst of their dreams. Never. So I was working hard for that company for a good 1 year, was waiting for my promotion, was waiting for my appraisal, and one random day, due to, of course, business purpose, the company decided to shut down its operation and fully respecting their decisions according to Now I'm entrepreneur, I can think in that term. But that time I was an employee, an aspiring employee. It really broke my heart that how can do they do this? I have worked for 1 year. I have done this much work. But it took me time to realize it's just a phase. It's just a moment. मेरे रोने से nothing will change. I have to pack my bags. I have to get things done. I have to start searching for new job. I cannot crib for long. Of course, I gave my time to settle down. I gave my time. I gave myself that particular time कि analyze it कि हाँ हाँ boss company बंद हो चुकी है. It's your career now. You have to build something for your own. I started applying for job. Have I got it immediately? No. Did I took time? Definitely yes. I went on a break. I took time to recharge myself, and then after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, I got job. So it's okay to all the employees who are watching this who are laid off. It's okay. It's just a phase. It's just a part. You will pass through it. You just have to have that confidence कि हाँ I'll work toward it and you will find jobs. हम सुनते हैं कि job market बहुत खराब है. It's not good. I know. I understand. I have that spear in. As an HR, I have seen the market from both sides of the table. As an HR, also as an employee, also I know how bad it is, but work towards that. You will get that, and you will get best. Trust me, when I am at my present job, I have got best.
so it's what I mean by that is that it's just a phase. You have to face it, and you will be able to do that. Have confidence of your own.
At times, you cannot ignore certain things, or it's not in your hands to change it. So
Exactly.
it's not in your hands to change it. Accept it and move towards it. The anxiousness phase will definitely come. There were nights when I could not sleep because I was not having a job. The main source of my bread and butter was stopped. And employment, no matter how much we crib, it is very important. अगर हर महीने salary आ रही है आपके पास, if you have that basic necessity, it's very important. And when it is stopped, you of course face that anxiousness. But as said, it's just a moment. You need to have faith in yourself.
Exactly. Okay, so we are talked about the laid off employee, but what about the employee? They are into the corporate, but they always have a fear that I could get laid off anytime. So what they should do? How do they prepare for themselves? Do they start applying for different job role? Do they have to start a side business so that if they got laid off, they don't have to depend on their company too much. They at least they're in the position of that financially stable. So what message that you want to give it to them?
I believe everyone is replaceable. Everyone. If I'm at a particular job, if someone else is more good at it, they will be at it. So my advice is if you have that fear always, first of all, stop having that fear. If you see the profits, if you see the margins, if you see the company is doing well, don't have that fear. Work towards your job. When you are in job, work towards that. But if you see कि अब कुछ हो सकता है, there are chances that I may be laid off. First of all, start upskilling yourself. Understand the market trends that are going. Prepare whatsoever role you are. Third, start applying if you know कि the company is in not good position right now. Start applying because it takes time to apply, to settle, to interview, to negotiate, and to join. Start with the best company that you can. First of all, have a list of companies that you want to work with. For example, I have a list of companies that I want to work with, and that's in my target. I'll apply very wisely. Apply very wisely. Take your time. Once you have started applying, maybe if you apply to 100 places, you will get calls from 5 of them.
Hmm.
That's how the job market is. Make sure in those 5 calls you speak very brilliantly so that you're selected in at least 3 of them for the first round. Make sure after the last round you are at least having 2 offers so that you know what to choose, when to choose, consider your SWOT analysis and everything and opt for the best. So choosing a company rightfully is very important. I have seen freshers who apply blindly, अगर किसी में 5-10 साल का एक्सपीरियंस भी मांग रहा है, दे अप्लाई नॉट सीइंग द जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन, नॉट सीइंग द एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. नो, डोंट डू दिस. अप्लाई very wisely, have good pipeline, and then choose wisely.
And so many people are applying through the bots. So, as a HR manager, what's your take on that? Does it work, or they have to apply manually, like in a humanistic context?
No. We, as an HR, we have systems that automatically screen your resumes. We call them ATS.
Yeah.
So we are here no matter how much the world changes with the evolution of AI, the human role cannot be changed. When I'm giving interview, I'm giving it to an individual. So it's very important that you apply manually rather than taking help of bots. Apply through LinkedIn, apply through trusted source, apply through networks rather than applying it through bots.
Hmm. Got it. Okay. Again, coming back to the leadership part. One more thing is that leadership is all about managing time as well. But before managing team, it's start with building a team. If
Hmm.
you are an entrepreneur, your first 4 5 hires will matter a lot because they will becoming your one of the core member, right? And you are an HR, you all have a deep experience with the talent acquisition part. So
Mm-hmm.
how people have to do hire, their employees if you are an entrepreneur? What kind of the metrics that you have to seek into that people? Like then they think, okay, this people is good for my organization. So what kind
Mm-hmm.
of mistake that they should avoid, and what kind of thing that they have to look at to that people? So what's your framework for that part?
Okay, so to create high performing teams, I need to understand first that high performance comes from intentional design and not sheer luck.
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
have a team that are very good in terms of skill, will, clarity. I need, for example, in talking about confidence collection, I don't have a team yet, but I know after 1 year when I'll start my team, I know whom to hire because I have built that network. I have judged as an HR on all parameters, be it the area, domain knowledge, the culture fitment, which is very important. I may bring an individual who is very good in his domain knowledge, but not fitting the culture that I want to opt in. I may not take that individual. So to create high performance team, you need to have that safety or that culture cushion that employees can speak without fear. इफ आई हैव अ टीम, आई नो कि उसमें कोई भी बंदा आके मुझसे कुछ भी बातें कर सकता है रिलेटेड टू वर्क विदाउट हेजिटेशन. दे विल नॉट fear that Sakshi will get offended or Sakshi won't like my idea. If you have an idea, good or bad, I don't care. You need to speak up. You need to have that initiative. So that safety I will provide to my team as a leader. Second is standard. Excellence is expected in my team. Mediocrity is not accepted. I will expect that all my employees, all my team members are very good. If they are not good, they are at least trying to be at that par level. Third, problem solving. Speed is very important while you're solving that problem. जब कुछ फट जाता है तब वो ना आए rather than वो चीज़ें को फटने ही ना दे. I believe that. Fourth is shared purpose. The way I uh, work towards confidence collection, I want my each and every employee should work towards confidence collection in the same way. My goals should align with the organization goals, and their goals should align with the organization goals. And fourth is I'll give them that clear rules and responsibilities. I'll have that dedicated set of KRAs and KPIs for every individual to have a clear progression. For example, अगर आप किसी कंपनी में काम करते हो, if you don't know what are your KRAs, KPIs, what your 5 years looks like in that company, you're not at right place.
Hmm. Right. Right. Okay. As a senior executive, like whenever you are the head of a like five, if like there are 5 team, 20 team, and working under you, for the time what happen is sometime you have to be very friendly with your team. They will hang out with you, but sometime you have to be strict with them. But
Mm-hmm.
again, if you break that balance, like if you go too friendly with your team, then definitely they will not work productive. And if you becoming very rude towards your team, that again their work is not that level of productive. So we have to
Mm-hmm.
set a balance of that, but we don't know what are the balance, because sometimes क्या होता है ना, flow में हम over friendly हो जाते हैं with our teammates and they don't respect you. रिस्पेक्ट इन द सेंस दैट यू सेड कि कल ये काम होना चाहिए बट दे टेक इट लिलियंटली ड्यू टू दैट
It,
फ्रेंडलीनेस बिहेवियर. एंड समटाइम्स क्या होता है कि ड्यू टू द प्रेशर डेडलाइन हम इतने ज़्यादा रूड हो
uh,
जाते हैं, अपने टीम्स को कुछ भी बोल देते हैं, ड्यू टू दैट दे बैडली इम्पैक्ट देयर मेंटल हेल्थ. तो इस
yes.
सिचुएशंस में लाइक एज अ मैनेजर हाउ डू वी हैव टू प्रिपेयर आवर सेल्फ, अगर मुझे अपने टीम से बेटर आउटकम निकलवाना है तो कब हमें
Hmm.
फ्रेंडली होना है और कब वी हैव टू like show some sort of rude or like strict behavior towards them.
Mhm. I think this is the same case. I onboarded a executive leader 2 months back for confidence collection, and his statement was the same. He was in sales, and he said that I have employees. Most of them are Gen Zs. If I work more on little rigidity or strictness part, they get offended and automatically they say, "Yeah, you are coming to our mental health. You are." They simply put allegations that you are mental harassing me. How do I overcome this? If I'm friendly, they don't do targets, and sales numbers are very important. So there's a very thin line of difference between being friendly and professional. You have to maintain that line. At times, if you know कि आपके employees को that warmth, that friendliness is required, do that. But if you know that this is work time, boss, I need my deliverables in this particular time, you need to get that done. I cannot expect deliverables from an employee who is sick. For example, one of my associate messaged me that I'm really sick. I cannot come to office. I'll not ask for reports that particular time. That's my human quotient. That's my friendliness towards that particular employee. I know if an employee is going through tough times at homes, some personal problems, I'll be little nice to him compared to all other employees because I know that space is needed to him or her in that particular time. But when it comes to work, I'll make sure that my teams are aligned on the work. They know कैसे काम करना है, क्या काम करना है, उनके पास enough resources है. For this, expectation setting is very important as a leader. You need to, on day one, when you have a team, clearly define that expectation setting that this is our work timing, and if things are done, we'll go party together. This method I follow for my team. This is our work timing, and if things go well, if this is succeeded, on a weekend we'll have a good party. Have throw that party, take them out, and understand their personal life a little bit also, so that you know कि कब उनको कहाँ पे क्या दिक्कतें आ सकती है. But maintain that line also. When you are in office, you are their representative, but outside the office, you are their colleague, their acquaintance, their friend.
पार्टी करनी है पहले काम करो. If you
Of course.
meet the deadline then we will do. Yeah, exactly. मतलब कि as
I
a reward you will get thing, only then human brain works so efficiently कि कुछ reward
I
मिलेगा.
I remember the last company that I have worked with, the CHRO of that particular company, while he was very professional while we are at work, but at moments of tough times, he was there. When the company was when the company shut down its operation, he was the one who circulated my resume in his network, and it really helped a lot. So have that personal networking also. काम अपनी जगह पे है, but personal networking is also very very important in a corporate space.
Exactly. And Shakshi, one more question that I want to ask. Corporate में क्या होता है when you go very new? So
Hmm.
you just sink under your team. For example, you are in tech. आप सिर्फ
Hmm.
टेक में ही रहते हो, उन्हीं लोगों से बातें करते हो. Like you people are don't hang out with the sales people, right? And some
Hmm.
another teams people as well. उनका floor अलग होता है. We hang around with these people. So due to that what happens is उनका network सिर्फ tech में ही बन पाते हैं. And tech maybe for example if there are some people working in a Python, so they just hang out with that small
There,
team
like,
as well. They always have a fear कि if I talk with some other people, what will they think about me, वो क्या बोलेंगे, this kind of thing. So what's your framework to build your network? I mean networks कैसे करते हैं corporates में, आप कैसे करते हो?
hmm. So I'm in a space of HR that requires that every team is my team, every colleagues they are my colleague. But I've seen individuals who want to be in that limited shell of their particular domain only. For example, I'll not see my sales people hanging out with tech team. I'll not see my tech team hanging out with marketing people. You should not. You should always hang out with other domains to understand that what they are performing. You should always hang out with people who are more smarter than you to understand कि हाँ उनके यहाँ पे ऐसे चलता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई एम बिल्डिंग कॉन्फिडेंस कलेक्शन नाउ, I have my network in tech, I have my network in sales, marketing, in funding level also, so that I understand that when I have to venture up, whom do I need to call up, and they are just a call away. That's the power of personal networking that you have. You should always I know that's very कि किसी से randomly जाके कैसे बात कर ले if they are
Right.
in their own sphere. You should just go that, hey, I'm Sakshi, I'm from the this team. Just saw you sitting here. 5 minutes conversation regarding your domain will work. I wanted to know more about this. Although आपको कोई idea नहीं है उस particular domain के बारे में, but what's wrong in understanding that domain and trust them. This will definitely help. Mentorship will definitely help. For me, I have different set of mentors. I have a strategic mentor. I have a reverse mentor too, one who is younger than me, one who knows one who can brutally say me that you're going wrong this way. I have a reverse mentor too. I have a mentor in my personal sphere also who knows ki right now hold this because this personal life of yours requires more attention, and this I have built with years of personal mentoring that I do. Any network, I am self invited. मैं खुद बोलती हूँ, मुझे आना है. I want to be in that particular event. That moment of awkwardness वो 2 मिनट के लिए रहता है, but once you build network, you will have a very strong confidence in yourself. And it's not that कि आप 100 लोगों से मिलो, you will have 100 people network. 10 may accept, 10 may willingly give that warm handshake that yes, welcome to our network. But you should go and first ask. Don't be shy in this.
Yeah, got it. So you just have to try. क्या ही होगा max to max, वो मतलब ignore कर देंगे, but you have to just
But
take the very first step.
yes,
Exactly, that's really important. Okay, so I'm just wanted to ask a personal question. You are a VP of HR in a Masters Union. So how your days looks like? Our audience is curious to know about that.
so I work as an HRBP in
Yeah.
Masters U, and I run my own side hustle that is known as Confidence Collection. As mentioned, my 9 to 5 or my 9 to 6 is completely to my office space. When I'm in office, I am my heart and soul in HR. But while I'm at my home, I have my heart and soul in my confidence collection. Weekends are for my confidence collection. My strategies are for my confidence collection. So managing these two different spheres is very difficult at times. Sometimes you have to multitask with two sets of opportunities at one given point of time. It is very difficult, but I know what I need from life and I have to work towards that. A day in my life is just like an ordinary corporate मजदूर जो लेट होते रहता है ऑफिस के लिए. I have to travel 2 hours to go to office and 2 hours coming back from office. So it's the same day that any corporate मजदूर face, but I know once I'm at home, it's all about my business. That work life balance is very necessary for any individuals who are watching this.
Hmm, got it. So yeah, like you are someone is a kind of inspiration for as a hustler. You like managing the office part. After that, you work on your side hustles part. So, but we saw that when you come to office, your energy is got totally down. So, how you manage that energy to building that product as well after 5 to 9 thing?
I had a discussion. I had a very inland discussion regarding this topic with one of my colleague who was also managing a different hustle. मैंने उनसे पूछा that आपको energy कैसे मिलता है? Because at times when I'm at home, I don't want to open my laptop. I don't want to figure out anything
Exactly.
because my office gives me salary, but my business is right now not scaling up to a compensation level. There is no motivation. How do I do this? He said, that's your passion that you want to build. How can you be not be motivated towards working towards that? And that really hit me that if I can work towards any particular goal with this much energy, this is my business. I have to do this. आज मुझे वो नहीं दे रहा है compensation, आज मुझे वो growth नहीं मिल रहा है, but I know कि 5 years if I'll be consistent, having clarity, having my checkpoints, I'll achieve that. So of course there are moments of doubts, there are moments of demotivation, there are moments of anxiousness कि नहीं होगा, बंद कर देती हूँ, nothing is happening, there are no appreciation. कितना ही किसी को कितना ही खुद को self appreciate कर दोगे.
Right.
But I take that break, and it's not always कि मैं हमेशा काम करती हूँ. I sometimes go on a very blank zone wherein I don't want to work in confidence collection. I take that break also when it is needed, when and wherever it is needed. But I make sure when I come back stronger.
Amazing. Okay. we are coming to the end of the podcast, but yeah, before we wrap up this session, there are some questions. Uh,
Definitely.
Recommend some sort of books on leadership that people should definitely have to read.
Okay, so rather than books, I'll recommend some books also, but rather than books, I'll recommend articles. I'll recommend vlogs. I'll recommend some readings over Quora. For example, जैसे मैंने बोला, I also get demotivated. तो मुझे किसी से पूछना पड़ता है, मुझे कुछ पढ़ना पड़ता है, rather कि मुझे पता चले I am not alone in that boat. I read some articles on Reddit. I read some articles on Quora. These are my two go websites. Book, I don't know if you've heard of this book or not, Atomic Habits.
Yeah,
That's
James Clear.
very, you should read that. You should also hear some podcasts, Diary of a CEO or Coaching for Leaders, if I'm not wrong. That's very good podcast that you listen. Or read some articles, read some short, instant motivational quotes that will give you an instant boost.
That's interesting. And what's your source of knowledge? I mean, you also have, like, you are someone who understand the competence very deeply. So you
Hmm.
understand by working closely with them through your own journey, or you understand it by reading books, listening podcasts? What's your source of information?
My source of so Destiny has a very strange way of informing me. At times if I feel demotivated, कुछ ना कुछ मेरे साथ ऐसे होता है, or someone randomly gives me answer that I'm confused about. So I believe a lot in Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, spiritual.
A lot. If अगर मुझे लगता है कि मुझे अभी कुछ ब्रेक की ज़रूरत है, I open one page of Bhagavad Gita, and that at that particular time answers my particular question in mind. Very strangely, but it does. And it gives me calm over the chaos part.
Okay.
So,
Uh,
so sorry, you were
no, no,
speaking
no.
something.
Continue, continue, continue.
I wanted to quote, since the topic of Bhagavad Gita has come, I want to quote the leader that I look up to is Vasudev Krishna, our own Krishna ji.
Mm-hmm.
In times, just last week, I have watched a series known as Kurukshetra.
Netflix. Yeah.
Yes. And I could not help but how, so, since we are talking about leadership, all the qualities that a leader should have, he had that. he was he was there when Arjun needed him. He was there जब अर्जुन का एक टाइम पे एरोगेंस बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया था. He was there to pacify those also. He was there as a सारथी कि आप करो काम, मैं आपके साथ हूँ, आपका काम है कर्म करना.
Hmm.
He had that emotional intelligence also. He grounded Arjuna during breakdowns, during confusion, or when he was having that fear कि मैं अपने ही relatives पे कैसे अपने तीर धनुष चला दूं. So he guided in those times also. He led with dharma rather than ego. He was having that he was an almighty. He is an almighty. He could have easily destroyed anything, but he made sure that everything is followed by the process. He influenced without force. So that's a quality of leader that you should have, and that's a leader I look up to.
Exactly. Krishna is a great example to be a leader, to how to handle, see the motivate, how they motivate Pandavas towards the wars and all. That's a good
Yes.
example of that. That's really amazing. Okay.
Thank you.
The last question is, you are someone, what's your age, Sakshi, right now?
I am 24.
24. So when you was a kid, that time internet was not too much that it is right now, and AI is not that too much that it is right now, right? So there is so many people, so many kids who are watching you, and probably who will watching you after 1 year or 2 days maybe. They have the leverage of AI, internet, and everything. If you go to
Hmm.
your childhood days and you have that internet, so what one advice that you will give it to your younger self?
Okay. I remember last time when I was at home, I saw one of my cousin who is probably in 7th or 8th class doing his class project from ChatGPT.
Oh,
And ChatGPT, my time उसका कुछ पार्ट भी नहीं था.
exactly.
I used to manually handwrite all my assignment, find information,
Hmm.
साइंस कैफे में जाके प्रिंट्स निकालने, ब्यूटीफुली डेकोरेटेड, तब जाके कहीं से 18-20 मार्क्स मिल जाते थे. वैसा होता था. Right now you have a plethora of information available over internet. It is very important. to all the youngsters watching me, to all the kids watching me, to choose what kind of information you need to filter out. Sometimes over information is also as dangerous as no information. Filter out those information and use that information very wisely. Use internet very wisely. Use AI very wisely. I hear many people saying that AI will take jobs. No, it won't. AI cannot replace humans. In my own professional field, I have heard कि अब HRs का role बहुत ही कम होते जाता है with the evolution of AI. It won't. You just need to know how to use AI wisely. Of course, everything has its pros and cons. I am also a lot dependent on the AI. I am also a lot dependent on internet, on ChatGPT. But I know when to stop and when to use my own creative brain. I know that difference. So all the youngsters, children watching me, know when to stop. Don't let your creativity be polished by or being ruined by AI. Use your brain first. In case of doubt, go to AI, go to ChatGPT. But first, allow your brain to think. I remember there was a time जब मैं इतनी डिपेंडेंट हो गई थी चैट जीपीटी की, मुझे कुछ अपने दिमाग से सोचने पे मेहनत भी नहीं करना रहता था. एवरी प्रॉम्प्ट आई यूज्ड टू गिव टू चैट जीपीटी, वो करके देता था. एंड आई रियलाइज नो, दिस इज नॉट. If you see all my LinkedIn posts, I create that by my own. I put my own words. The only rephrasing or paraphrasing part is done by ChatGPT.
वो पता भी चल जाता है ना, चैट जीपीटी जो लिखता है, यू कैन इजीली काउट दैट पार्ट.
Yes, if you see two dash in one line, if you see high level words in one line, that's AI.
Exactly, and that green color, tick mark, that also the symbol of AI part, and random emojis. These are the thing that's very common there.
But also you need to know how to use ChatGPT very wisely, how to give those prompts.
Exactly.
And if you give that, it will convert that into a beautiful template.
Exactly. You have to train them with your own data, so it can also be work like your personal assistant, personal LinkedIn assistant as well.
Yes, if you go to my ChatGPT, if you tell what is confidence collection, it will probably give you more information rather than I know about confidence collection.
You just train them with all the data, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Okay. So yeah, let's wrap up this session. Thank you so much, Sakshi, for joining this session. I hope audience will got so much insight about leadership, confidence, and everything. And best of luck for your journey for confidence collection.
You too. Best wishes to you and to all the audience watching this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So that's all of our today's episode. I hope you all guys getting so much insight from the Sakshi towards leadership, micromanagement, and the confidence as well. I hope it will help you a lot. Thank you so much guys for listening, and please don't forget to share this podcast with someone who actually needs this. Thank you so much. Thanks again. Bye.